this is really coming from the seller's perspective. And the whole idea, and the reason I'm so kind of focused on buy downs and really enthusiastic about them is time and again, I'll have a buyer's agent actually call me to pre-qualify a buyer because they're going to make an offer on a home. Well, in the last week to 10 days, I've had multiple situations like that. And in every single one, and I think there's like 4 I've been dealing with, I was told that the buyer was contemplating making an offer a little bit below list, in part because the listings being looked at by these prospective buyers had been on the market for a little bit of time now, approaching a month, 5 weeks, 6 weeks. And usually the rule of thumb is if you've got a listing on the market for 30 days, you don't have any offers, that's a pretty strong signal. It's time to consider adjusting your price, which is essentially providing a concession to prospective buyers. So in this case, again, using that same example of a listing at $625,000, and let's say it's been on that MLS system for 40 days and they don't have any offers. And the seller's getting anxious, motivated to move. Seller and their listing agent start talking about lowering the price. Well, here's the first option, and the very, very common one. It's so simple. Most, sellers and their agents sort of default to this. Oh, we're not getting any action. We need to lower the price. So in this example, what I'm showing is, let's say you lower it from $625 to $600. That's a concession by the seller of $25,000. So giving up that amount of value. Now, what does that do to the buyer side for a prospective buyer? Well, now with 20% down, their loan amount's not going to be $500. It's going to be $480. And what that means is the principal and interest is going to drop from $3,000 at $500,000 loan amount to $2,878. That's $122 lower. So that does point out that if the seller, in getting more anxious about selling their home, is willing to offer a concession by lowering their list price by $25,000, there is some benefit to that buyer who otherwise was contemplating and buying it at full list. By nature of the price reduction, they get an opportunity to get a smaller loan amount, which is going to save them some money per month in the mortgage payment. And at a market rate, again, in this example, we're using 6%, it's $122 a month. It's okay. Not so much that you can get real excited about it, but it's something, right? Well, here's the other option. And again, I've run into these scenarios in the last couple of weeks where I've basically stepped in and said, okay, I'll do your pre-qual at the lower, asking price that you want to do, but hey, consider this other option. And here it is. Keep your list price at $625. Don't lower it. Instead, update your listing remarks and let the buying public, let those prospective buyers know that you're willing perhaps to pay the cost of a 3-2-1 buy down for a full price offer. And as we showed earlier, if you do that, then your seller concession is actually not $25,000 from option one's price reduction. It's actually lower concession, $21,792. And again, that money, that $21,792, is taken from the seller proceeds at closing, forwarded to the lender who's funding the loan for the buyer, and those funds are placed into a buy down account. So then every month when the buyer makes that subsidized payment based on that lower interest rate, 3% in the first year, 4% in the second year, 5% in the third year, because the note rate's at 6% in this example, the lender then pulls money out of this buy down account bucket and adds what's necessary to meet the full note rate payment each month during that first 36-month buy down